Hey friends, in this video I'm going to be comparing the offerings from BlackMagic, Panasonic, and Canon when it comes to cinema cameras. This video has been requested by a couple of different people across the channel, across a couple of videos, so you can see the top line specs and features on B&H or on the product overview sites. I'm not going to give you those here because I think that's a waste of everybody's time. But I do have a couple of categories that I want to run through really quick, and I think I might expand on those afterwards. So, category 1, ease of use. C200, so the cameras that I'm going to be comparing are the BlackMagic Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K, the EVA1, and the C200. In terms of ease of use, the C200 absolutely wins. Canon's ergonomics are industry standard, and I can't imagine seeing another manufacturer making cameras that are as easy to use, apart from Red, that are as easy to use as Canon cameras. All of them shoot RAW, so that's kind of a tie. In terms of slow-mo, the EVA1 shoots 240 FPS in 2K, whereas the C200 shoots 120 FPS in HD. The BlackMagic doesn't do any slow-mo, apart from 4.6K 60p, so that doesn't really count. In terms of autofocus, the C200 wins that by a landslide. DPAF is fantastic. In terms of dynamic range, the BlackMagic Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K gets 15 stops of dynamic range. In terms of the cards that you're going to use, the EVA1 wins, but by a very narrow margin, because all of the rest of them shoot. So the C200 and BlackMagic both shoot on CFast cards, but the C200 does actually have dual SD card slot. Now, speaking to those cards, that EVA1 does win out because not only does it only shoot on SD cards, it also is going to be able to put, hypothetically down the line when they make the firmware for it, assuming they do, you're going to be able to put RAW onto an SD card. That's going to be huge. That's going to be killer. It's 10-bit 422 4K right now, as of now, let me put it that way, onto those SD cards, which is great, which is really cool. With the C200, you're not going to be able to shoot RAW unless it's onto a CFast card. Now, you are going to be able to shoot UHD 4K at 8-bit 420, which, again, trust Canon's color science. It's fantastic. It won't, lead you astray, onto those SD cards. So for most applications, the C200 is oriented towards using SD cards. For most applications, you're not going to want to shoot RAW. You're going to want to shoot 8-bit 420 4K onto an SD card with the C200. And I think you can trust that, whereas I don't really think that you can trust Panasonic's color science. I think you're going to need the 10-bit 422. I think you're going to need the RAW on the EVA1 in order to really fine-tune that image into making it one that's as pleasing as possible. On the BlackMagic side, I think they have some of the best color in the industry. So, in terms of the film look, the log profile that is, 15 stops of dynamic range, it's going to work out all right if you have a BlackMagic. I think it's going to be more than all right if you have a Canon. And that's just my bias. I think Canon color is great, and so I'm being open and upfront about that. The C-Log on the 5D Mark IV gets 12 stops of dynamic range. The C-Log on the C200 gets 14. Don't have any dynamic range numbers for the EVA1 there. If it does, lag, I think that's going to be a deal breaker. The GH4 got 10 stops of dynamic range. GH5 gets 12. So I don't really have very high hopes for Panasonic, because they don't seem to be able to, they're giving you a 10-bit 422 at 400 megabits a second on the GH5, but you get 12 stops of dynamic range. So is it really worth it? I don't think so, but that's just me. You're still gonna have to expose just about perfectly in order to be able to get it and make it what you want. And the 15 stops of dynamic range on the BlackMagic cameras is fantastic. In my view, because I have EF lenses, because down the line I could see myself getting into a Canon cinema camera with dual pixel autofocus and 4K for this type of stuff, just for fun. I'm gonna have to go with the C200. I think the C200 is the best camera of the bunch, because in terms of workflow, like, that's the other thing that just really gets under my skin about a lot of the argumentation around which of these cameras is best, is no one really thinks about the workflow. Like, in terms of workflow, you're gonna have to do so much less work to a Canon image, assuming you expose properly, to make it look all that it can be, and to look exactly how you want it to look. And so I'm gonna say that the C200 is gonna win out on this one. I mean, it only wins, you know, 2 categories. It ties 1. It only wins, so the C200 only wins 2 categories. It ties 1. It's a close second on another one. So you might be saying, well, then why does it still win in your book? And that's because, like I'm saying, the workflow, in terms of color, in terms of the file sizes, in terms of, you know, the ease of use of the actual device, in terms of the quality of lenses. Like, I recognize that all 2 of the other options you can use EF lenses on, but not with autofocus and not with DPAF. So that's just another thing that's saying to me, like, dude, this is gonna work. It's just gonna work. And that's really appealing to me. Where the C200 lags is in terms of being able to see the image that you're recording. So the C200B comes in at $6,000, while the C200, the normal version with the touch screen and that LCD and the EVF, comes in at $7,500. So that's a little bit obnoxious to me. I really feel like that shouldn't be so expensive, and I really hope that some of these companies that make external monitors and recorders come out with a device that can pair well with DPAF, because that would be awesome. If you could touch to focus, that would be superb. But, you know, for me, and I can't speak to anybody else, but for me, that C200 really, you know, checks all the boxes. So I'd love to hear what you have to think in the comments below. Let's keep it positive. Let's have some fun down there. I mean, we're all here because we love the subject. We love making content. We love high-end, you know, products. So let's all respect each other in the process of having those conversations and so forth. But yeah, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next